Hey, y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Cole roasts Hakeem Jeffries so badly in this committee meeting that he almost gets laughed out of the room. The Democrats own this shutdown, and he still won't own up to it. Let's dive in.
We have an affordability crisis here in the United States of America, and Republicans continue to bury their heads in the sand. During the longest shutdown in American history, the Trump Republican shutdown, what we've seen repeatedly from our Republican colleagues, who here in the House were on a taxpayer-funded vacation for more than 7 weeks, welcome back, is that Donald Trump has done everything but try to actually make life better for the American people. He somehow has found $40 billion to bail out his right-wing wannabe dictator buddy in Argentina, putting Argentina first, but not the American people first. And so Whip Clark and myself, on behalf of the House Democratic Caucus, believe that this amendment to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for tens of millions of hard-working American taxpayers is actually designed to put the American people first. And we're hopeful that our Republican colleagues will join us and abandon the reckless policies that you all have pursued in creating this Republican health care crisis.
I have been astonished to hear our colleagues say that this Republican health care crisis was manufactured by President Trump. I mean, I'm sure if I asked the clerks to read that back, that's what they say. Would you refresh our memory as to what created the Affordable Care Act and how did we get here as a result of what happened during COVID? Would you mind doing that? President Trump was not in office in either of those cases. Is that correct?
That too is correct, Madam Chair. I'm trying to limit how much time I use, how outrageous some of the statements I've heard are. The reality is, goes back to a fundamental defect in Obamacare itself, which is constantly driven. The Affordable Care Act has made health care unaffordable. It's been doing it for 15 years. The basic subsidies are in law. Our friends on the other side during COVID decided we've got a crisis underway. We're going to add a subsidy on top of a subsidy.
The subsidy to what was called the Affordable Care Act, which was never affordable because we taxpayers who pay for our own insurance were subsidizing, correct?
That is absolutely correct. So again, it's a subsidy on top of a subsidy. Our friends added it during COVID. COVID is over. They set a date certain that the subsidies would run out. They chose the date.
And the date certain was?
December 31st of this year. So they chose that date. By the way, they did it without any Republican votes, without any consideration of reforms, without any effort to hold down the price. I mean, they literally are the big insurance companies' best friends. They funneled hundreds of billions of dollars into these things. But again, this is their legislation. They wrote it. They extended it. They added a subsidy to it. And they set the date at which that subsidy was to run out. President Trump certainly wasn't president when either the original legislation was created or this additional subsidy was added. So to blame it on him instead of looking in the mirror and blaming it on yourself is the height of hypocrisy. This is a Democratic manufactured crisis that they're blaming on everybody but themselves. And at the same time, as they're doing that, they've decided, well, I guess we don't need to pay our men and women in uniform that are defending us. Thank God President Trump twice has pulled rabbits out of a hat and made sure that didn't happen. Or we're not going to pay our air traffic controllers, or our meat inspectors, or our Capitol Police that they celebrate so constantly and rightfully. I mean, come on. This is a totally manufactured crisis by Democrats. They've kept the government shut down. Finally, in the United States Senate, 8 pretty courageous people said, I'm not going to be part of this charade anymore. I'm going to vote to open the government. We can negotiate on these other issues. Majority Leader Thune, our own speaker, made it clear we're willing to do it. We're not going to, by the way, sign off on something that has been an utter disaster. And what the Democrats basically have asked for here is like $1.5 trillion over 10 years in exchange for a 4 or 7 week CR, or now one that will go a little bit longer since they've wasted most of the time. So, I mean, we shouldn't have any doubt about who created the crisis, who's perpetuating the crisis, and who's trying to capitalize on it politically.
I love it when I get to listen to policy walks because you really get to see how in-depth these guys are when it comes to what they actually want to do in Congress. When the Senate talks, they're usually talking about foreign policy or how the government's supposed to function, but when the House talks, that's where most of the good policies come from. And that's why you want guys with these little niche understandings like Tom Cole out of Oklahoma. This dude loves to talk about healthcare. He loves to talk about medical research. That's his forte. And so you need to listen to him a little bit more than Hakeem Jeffries when it comes to actual policy points. Now, granted, Hakeem Jeffries is playing a completely different game, and this is what's really going on in this video. This isn't about policy anymore. And that's unfortunate. At one time, you could have had a good policy fight, but ever since we started putting cameras in these congressional hearings and these congressional meetings, instead of actually watching them on the floor, all of a sudden, theater becomes more standard. Hey, y'all, what if I told you that most collagen products aren't just a waste of money? They could be loaded with toxins that lead to skin issues, heart problems, and even cognitive decline. Sounds scary, but it's true. See, collagen is the most abundant protein found in the body, and our natural supply runs lower as we age. That's why so many people are turning to collagen to help with joint pain, bone health, and even look years younger. But here's the catch. You have to know what you're looking for, or you might be doing your body more harm than good. So before you buy another tub off of Amazon or from your local store, go check out the top 5 collagen warnings that every American needs to see, and take advantage of this special offer. It's a real quick read that can help save your health and your wallet. Right now, get a special bundled deal at a fraction of retail costs, plus free shipping. This offer is only available at getnativepath.com/brawl. That's GETNATIVEPATH.com/brawl. And once the Republican Party realizes that truth doesn't win when the left-stream media refuses to let it out of that room, we've got a problem. Republicans are fighting a war not of just ideology, because if we were, let's be honest, John Kasich would have won in 2016. Mitt Romney would have won in 2012. W probably would have never become president. Would have been Al Gore. And then probably a stronger Republican in 2004, after Al Gore would have likely botched the response to 9/11. But that's a whole bunch of extra ideas. That's a whole bunch of projection on my part as a pseudo-historian and someone that loves political science. So what am I actually getting at here? My point is, policy does not win debate. It does not matter how much of the truth these Republicans are telling you. It does not matter that Virginia Fox is one of the better policy wonks on education. It does not matter that Tom Cole is speaking the truth. What matters is Hakeem Jeffries is blasting Republicans briefly and blaming them for the shutdown and then pivoting. And this is what he opened his argument with. He opened with the idea of the cost of living. Why did he do that? You are in a congressional hearing. Why aren't you arguing policy? Well, truth is, policy is made in the back rooms. It's the sausage of politics. You don't want to see how that sausage gets made. You're going to love it when it's grilled up over charcoal or over propane or in between a hot dog bun, but you won't like how it's made. And Hakeem Jeffries understands this. And so, instead of talking policy, he decides to give in to theater. And Republicans have not been able to fully match that energy, at least in the House. Because instead of pointing out that we needed 60 votes in the Senate, and Hakeem Jeffries was one of the people that kept telling his people to hold firm and use Americans as hostage, because that's the kind of energy you must match. Policy alone will not matter. It does not matter that Obamacare has failed. What matters is, are you excoriating your opponents for its failure? Simply saying Obamacare failed isn't enough to push the needle. Why am I sounding so harsh on this? Well, folks, the recent election has made me realize that we are up against an unusual battle, and so I have to now fight two fronts. And I'm not talking about the goings-on behind the scenes in conservative spheres. No, I'm not talking about that fight. I am talking about the fight that we have to get out our information in a completely different manner than the Democrat Party. I am admitting that I'm being a bit of a partisan here because I've seen what is happening on the Democrat side. The Democrats elected Jay Jones. Okay? You do not want to look up his tweets, sorry, not his tweets, his private messages that he sent to other Republicans about what the evil things he wanted to see or do himself to his opponents, to his political colleagues and their children. Which means Democrats in Virginia knew this guy was like this and voted for him anyways, or they are so ignorant to it that they refuse to understand the truth of the matter and still voted for him. So it's either they're ignorant or they agree with it. That's why I'm getting a little bit antsy when it comes to all this policy battle. Because as much truth as you could speak to these people, if that truth isn't getting out, that's what we're up against. So it does not matter that Tom Cole and Virginia Fox are policy wonks. It does not matter that they understand what's going on. They understand how bad the environment is. They understand how awful Obamacare truly has been for the American people. They are speaking truth into an echo chamber. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries is talking about the cost of living, which has nothing to do with this healthcare debate of allowing subsidies to occur to give illegal immigrants healthcare and to prop up the worst parts of the ACA. That won't matter because it won't reach the airways where it needs to reach. But maybe it can reach here. And that's why we elevate people like this. That's why I love being able to show stuff like this, because it means we are giving good commentary to people who are genuinely curious and want to see good policy. I believe that about you. I hope that's the message you're getting from this. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Till then, y'all have a good one. And hey, if you want to become members of this channel and support us to keep us as independent as possible, I might be the flashy center fielder, but I've got a team of guys behind me that get this news as fast as possible to you. And if you feel led, become members and Politibrawlers. If not, regardless, y'all have a good one.